What's going on, you guys? Here is the first installment of Fantasy Fridays. Now, I have a ton of fantasy books with romance. So, I absolutely love them. Fantasies are like one of my favorite books. One of my favorite genres. I'm sorry, I was kind of fixing him. It's the camera. Anyways, so the first book that I have for Fantasy Fridays is the Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. Now, I've never heard of her. The only Fitzpatrick I heard was from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Sweet Life on Deck, which didn't have very many episodes with Maddie in it. But still. So, my mom found this book and got it for me for Christmas 5 years ago. So, it was back in my apartment. Not this apartment. But yeah. So, I was like, but this isn't what I wanted. Like, I gave her a specific list of books that I wanted, and I've never even heard of this book. So, I started to read it, and I'm like, okay, what's up? And then as I gotten further, I really started to love it. And I also have the second book, Crescendo, as well as the third. What is the third book? I can't really use my phone to look it up either. But I know the fourth book's called Finale. Oh, Silencio? No, it's not Silencio. It's Silent? Might be Silent or Silencio. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they're such really good books. I absolutely love them. So let's dive right in. I'll read the prologue and chapter 1, because the prologue's short, and chapter 1 I'm already past, because I started reading it on my own again. You see, I'm in chapter 2, probably in chapter 3 actually. Okay. So, God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. 2 Peter 2:4. Yeah, that's from the Bible. So here's the prologue. Loire Valley, France, November 1565. Chauncey was with a farmer's daughter on the grassy banks of the Loire River when the storm rolled in, and having let his gelding wander in the meadow, was left to his own 2 feet to carry him back to the chateau. That's French for house. He wore a silver buckle off his shoe. He tore a silver buckle off his shoe, placed it in the girl's palm, and watched her scurry away, mud clinging on her skirts. Excuse me. Then he tugged on his boots and started for home. Rain sheeted down on the darkening countryside surrounding the Chateau de l'Anguisse. Chauncey stepped easily over the sunken graves and hummus of the cemetery. Even in the thickest fog, he could find his way home from here and did not fear getting lost. There was no fog tonight, but the darkness and onslaught of rain were deceiving enough. There was movement along the fringe of Chauncey's vision, and he snapped his head to the left. At first glance, what appeared to be a large angel topping a nearby monument rose to full height. Neither stone nor marble, the boy had arms and legs. His torso was naked, his feet were bare, and peasant trousers hung low on his waist. He hopped down from the monument, the ends of his black hair dripping rain. It slid down his face, which was dark as a Spaniard's. Chauncey's hand crept to the hilt of his sword. "Who goes there?" The boy's mouth hinted at a smile. "Do not play games with the Duc de Languis. Sorry. Really? What happened there? Chauncey warned. "I asked for your name. Give it." "Duke?" The boy leaned against a twisted willow tree. "Or bastard." Chauncey unsheathed his sword. "Take it back. My father was the Duc de Languins. I'm the Duc de Languins now," he added, clumsily, and cursed himself for it. The Duke gave... Oopsies. The boy gave a lazy shake of his head. "Your father wasn't the old Duke." Chauncey seethed at the outrageous insult. "And your father?" he demanded, extending his sword. He didn't know all his vessels, but he was learning. He would brand the family name of this boy to memory. "I'll ask once more," he said in a low voice, whipping a hand down his face to clear away the rain. "Who are you?" The boy walked up and pushed the blade aside. He suddenly looked older than Chauncey had presumed, maybe even a year or two older than Chauncey. "One of the devil's brood," he answered. Chauncey felt a clench of fear in his stomach. "You're a raving lunatic," he said through his teeth. "Get out of my way." The ground beneath Chauncey tilted. Bursts of gold and red popped behind his eyes. Hunched with his fingernails grinding into his thighs, he looked up at the boy, blinking and gasping, trying to make sense of what was happening. His mind reeled like it was no longer his to command. The boy crouched to level their eyes. "Listen carefully. I need something from you. I won't leave until I have it. Do you understand?" Gritting his teeth, Chauncey shook his head to express his disbelief, his defiance. He tried to spit at the boy, but it trickled down his chin. His tongue refusing to obey him. The boy clasped his hands around Chauncey's. Their heat scorched him, and he cried out. "I need your oath of fealty," the boy said. "Bend on one knee and swear it." Chauncey commanded his throat to laugh harshly, but his throat constricted and he choked on the sound. His right knee buckled as if kicked from behind. Though no one was there, and he stumbled forward into the mud, he bent sideways and retched. "Swear it," the boy repeated. He flushed Chauncey's neck. It took all his energy to curl his hands into two weak fists. He laughed at himself, but there was no humor. He had no idea how, but the boy was inflicting the nausea and weakness inside him. It would not lift until he took the oath. He would say he had to, but he swore in his heart he would destroy the boy for this humiliation. "Lord, I become your man," Chauncey said venomously. The boy raised Chauncey to his feet. "Meet me here at the start of the Hebrew month of Cheshvan. During the 2 weeks between new and full moons, I'll need your service." "You are a niffle." Oops, I skipped ahead. My bad. Ignore that. A fortnight. Chauncey's whole frame trembled under the weight of his rage. I have a slight headache too, so. A fortnight. Chauncey's whole frame trembled under the weight of his rage. "I am the Duc de Languance." "You are a niffle," the boy said, on a sliver of a smile. Chauncey had a profane retort on the tip of his tongue, but he swallowed it. His next words were spoken with icy venom. "What did you say? You belong to the biblical race of Nephilim. Your real father was an angel who fell from heaven. You're half mortal." The boy's dark eyes lifted, meeting Chauncey's. "Half-fallen angel." Chauncey's tutor's voice drifted up from the recesses of his mind, reading passages from the Bible, telling of a deviant race created when angels cast from heaven mated with mortal women, a fearsome and powerful race. A chill that wasn't entirely revulsion crept through Chauncey. "Who are you?" The boy turned, walking away, and although Chauncey wanted to go after him, he couldn't command his legs to hold his weight. Kneeling there, blinking up through the rain, he saw 2 thick scars on the back of the boy's naked torso. They narrowed to form an upside-down V. "Are you fallen?" he called out. "Your wings have been stripped, haven't they?" The boy, angel, whoever he was, did not turn back. Chauncey did not need the confirmation. "This service I'm to provide," he shouted. "I demand to know what it is." The air resonated with the boy's low laughter. How are we doing? Good. Now, Chapter 1. Coldwater, Maine, present day. Although this book didn't come out until 2009, so it's like slightly in the past. Anyways, sorry. I walked into biology and my jaw fell open. Mysteriously adhered to the chalkboard was a Barbie doll with Ken at her side. They'd been forced to link arms and were naked except for artificial leaves placed in a few choice locations. Scribbled above their heads in thick pink chalk was the invitation. "Welcome to human reproduction. Sex." At my side, V. Sky said, "This is exactly why the school outlaws camera phones. Pictures of this in the e-zine would be all the evidence I needed." Evidence I'd need to get the Board of Education to axe biology. And then we'd have this hour to do something productive, like receive 101 tutoring from cute upper-class guys. "Why, V," I said, "I could have sworn you've been looking forward to this unit all semester." V lowered her lashes and smiled wickedly. This class isn't going to teach me anything I don't know. Z as in virgin. V as in virgin. "Not so loud." She winked just as bell rang, sending us both to our seats, which were side by side at our shared table. Coach McConaughey grabbed the whistle swinging from a chain around his neck and blew it. Seats team. Coach considered teaching 10th grade biology a side assignment to his job as varsity basketball coach. And we all do it. I apologize for yawning so much. I don't know why this is happening. Oh no, a thunderstorm. And we just lost power. Great. Coach considered teaching 10th grade biology a side assignment to his job as varsity basketball coach, and we all knew it. It may not have occurred to you kids that sex is more than a 15-minute trip to the backseat of a car. It's science. And what is science? Boring. Some kid in the back of the room called out. The only class I'm failing, said another. Coach's eyes tracked down the front row, stopping at me. Nora? The study of something, I said. He walked over and jabbed his index finger on the table in front of me. What else? Knowledge gained through experimentation and observation. Lovely. I sounded like I was auditioning for the audio book of our next text. And we're back. Good. In your own words? I touched the tip of my tongue to my upper lip and tried for a synonym. Science is an investigation. It sounded like a question. Science is an investigation, Coach said, sanding his hands together. Science requires us to transform into spies. Put that way, science almost sounded fun. But I'd been in Coach's class long enough not to get my hopes up. Good sleuthing takes practice, he continued. So does sex, came another back of the room comment. We all pit back laughter while Coach pointed a warning finger at the offender. That won't be part of tonight's homework. Coach turned his attention back to me. Nora, you've been sitting beside V since the beginning of the year. I nodded, but I had a bad feeling about where this was going. Both of you are on this school e-zine together. Again, I nodded. I bet you know quite a bit about each other. V kicked my leg under our table. I knew what she was thinking, that he had no idea how much we knew about each other. And I don't just mean the secrets we entomb in our diaries. V is my untwin. She's green-eyed, minky, blonde, and a few pounds over curvy. I'm a smoky-eyed brunette with volumes of curly hair that holds its own against even the best flat iron. And I'm all legs like a bar stool. But there is an invisible thread that ties us together. Both of us swear that tie began long before birth. Both of us swear it will continue to hold for the rest of our lives. Coach looked out at the class. In fact, I'll bet each of you know the person sitting beside you. Well enough. You picked the seats you did for a reason, right? Familiarity. Too bad the best sleuths avoid familiarity. It dulls the investigative instinct, which is why, today, we're creating a new seating chart. I opened my mouth to protest, but V beat me to it. What the crap? It's April, as in it's almost the end of the year. You can't pull this kind of stuff now. Coach hinted at a smile. I can pull this stuff clear up to the last day of the semester. And if you fail my class, you'll be right... You can't... I can pull this stuff clear up to the last day of the semester. And if you fail my class, you'll be right back here next year where I'll be pulling this kind of stuff all over again. V scowled at him. She is famous for that scowl. It's a look that does everything but audibly hiss. Apparently immune to it, Coach brought his whistle to his lips, and we got the idea. Every partner sitting on the left-hand side of the table, that's your left, move up one seat. Those in the front row, yes, including you, V, move to the back. V shoved her notebook inside her backpack and ripped the zipper shut. I bit my lip and waved a small farewell. Then I turned slightly, checking out the room behind me. I knew the names of all my classmates, except one, the transfer. Coach never called on him, and he seemed to prefer it that way. He sat slouched one table back, cool black eyes holding a steady gaze forward, just like always. I didn't for one moment believe he just sat there day after day staring into space. He was thinking something, but instinct told me I probably didn't want to know what. He set his bio text down on the table and slid into V's old chair. I smiled. Hi, I'm Nora. His black eyes sliced into me, and the corners of his mouth tilted up. My heart fumbled a beat, and in that pause, a feeling of gloomy darkness seemed to slide like a shadow over me. It vanished in an instant, but I was still staring at him. His smile wasn't friendly. It was a smile that spelled trouble, with a promise. I focused on the chalkboard. Barbie and Ken stared back with strangely cheerful smiles. Coach said, Human reproduction can be a sticky subject. Ew, groaned a chorus of students. It requires mature handling, and like all science, the best approach is to learn by sleuthing. For the rest of the class, practice this technique by finding out as much as you can about your new partner. Tomorrow, bring a write-up of your discoveries, and believe me, I'm going to check for authenticity. This is biology, not English, so don't even think about fictionalizing your answers. I want to see real interaction and teamwork. There was an implied or else. I sat perfectly still. The ball was in his court. I smiled, and look how well that turned out. I wrinkled my nose, trying to figure out what he smelled like. Not cigarettes, something richer, fouler. Cigars. I found the clock on the wall and tapped my pencil in time to the second hand. I planted my elbow on the table and propped my chin on my fist. I blew out a sigh. At this rate, I would fail. I had my eyes pinned forward, but I heard the soft glide of his pen. He was reading. I wanted to know what. 10 minutes of sitting together didn't qualify him to make any assumptions about me. Flitting a sideways look, I saw that his paper was several lines deep and growing. What are you writing? I asked. And she speaks English, he said while scrolling it down, each stroke of his hand both smooth and lazy at once. I leaned as close to him as I dared, trying to read what else he'd written, but he folded the paper in half, concealing the list. What did you write? I demanded. He reached for my unused paper, sliding it across the table toward him. He crumpled it into a ball. Before I could protest, he tossed it at the trash can beside Coach's desk. The shot dropped in. I stared at the trash can a moment, locked between disbelief and anger. Then I flipped open my notebook to a clean page. What is your name? I asked, pencil poised to write. I glanced up in time to catch another dark grin. This one seemed to dare me to pry anything out of him. Your name, I repeated, hoping it was my imagination that my voice faltered. Call me Patch. I mean it. Call me. He winked when he said it, and I was pretty sure he was making fun of me. What do you do in your leisure time? I asked. I don't have free time. I'm assuming this assignment is graded, so do me a favor. He leaned back in his seat, folding his arms behind his head. What kind of favor? I was pretty sure it was an innuendo. I grappled for a way to change the subject. Free time, he repeated thoughtfully. I take pictures. I printed photography on my paper. I wasn't finished, he said. I've got quite a collection of an Ezine columnist who believes there's truth in eating organic, who writes poetry in secret, and who shudders at the thought of having to choose between Stanford, Yale, and what's that big one with the H? I stared at him a moment, shaken by how dead on he was. I didn't get the feeling it was a lucky guess. He knew. And I wanted to know how right now. But you won't end up going to any of them. I won't? I asked without thinking. He hooked his fingers under the seat of my chair, dragging me closer to him. Not sure if I should scoot away and show fear, or do nothing and feign boredom. I chose the latter. He said, even though you thrive at all three schools, you scorn them for being a cliche of achievement. Passing judgment is your third biggest weakness. And my second, I said with quiet rage. Who was this guy? Was this some kind of a disturbing joke? I don't know how to trust. You don't know how to trust. I take that back. You trust just all the wrong people. And my first, I demanded, you keep life on a short leash. What's that supposed to mean? You're scared of what you can't control. The hair at the nape of my neck stood on end, and the temperature in the room seemed to chill. Ordinarily, I would have gone straight to Coach's desk and requested a new seating chart, but I refused to let Patch think he could intimidate me or scare me. I felt an irrational need to defend myself and decided right then and there I wouldn't back down until he did. Do you sleep naked? He asked. My mouth threatened to drop, but I held it in check. You're hardly the person I'd tell. Ever been to a streak? No, I lied. The truth was, I was in counseling with the school psychologist, Dr. Hendrickson. It wasn't by choice, and it wasn't something I'd like to talk about. Done anything illegal? No. Occasionally breaking the speed limit wouldn't count, not with him. Why don't you ask me something normal, like my favorite kind of music? I'm not going to ask what I can guess. You do not know the type of music I listen to. Baroque. Sorry. I butchered that. Baroque. With you, it's all about order, control. I bet you play the cello. He said it like he'd pulled the kiss out of thin air. Wrong. Another lie. But this one sent a chill along my skin. Who is he really? If he knew I played the cello, what else did he know? What's that? Patch tapped his pen against the inside of my wrist. Instinctively, I pulled away. A birthmark. Looks like a scar. Are you suicidal, Nora? His eyes connected with mine, and I could feel him laughing. Parents married or divorced? I live with my mom. Where's Dad? My dad passed away last year. How did he die? I flinched. He was murdered. This is kind of personal territory, if you don't mind. There was a count of silence, and the edge in Patch's eyes seemed to soften a touch. That must be hard. He sounded like he meant it. The bell rang, and Patch was on his feet, making his way toward the door. Wait, I called out. He didn't turn. Excuse me. He was through the door. Patch, I didn't get anything on you. He turned back and walked toward me. Taking my hand, he scribbled something on it before I thought to pull away. I looked down at the 7 numbers in red ink on my palm and made a fist around them. I wanted to tell him, no way was his, I wanted to tell him no way was his phone ringing tonight. I wanted to tell him it was his fault for taking all the time questioning me. I wanted a lot of things, but I just stood there looking like I didn't know how to open my mouth. At last I said, "I'm busy tonight." "So am I." He grinned and was gone. I stood nailed to the spot, digesting what had just happened. Did he eat up all the time questioning me on purpose so I'd fail? Did he think one flashy grin would redeem him? Yes, I thought. Yes, he did. "I won't call," I called after him. "Not ever." "Have you finished your column for tomorrow's deadline?" It was V. She came up beside me, jotting notes on the notepad she carried everywhere. "I'm thinking of writing mine on the injustice of seating charts. I got paired with a girl who said she just finished lice treatment this morning. My new partner," I said, pointing to the hallway at the back of Patch. He had an annoyingly confident walk, the kind you find paired with faded t-shirts and a cowboy hat. Patch wore neither. He was a dark Levi's, dark Henley, dark boots kind of guy. The senior transfer? Guess he didn't study hard enough the first time around. Or the second. She gave me a knowing look. Third time's the charm. He gives me the creeps. He knew my music. Without any hits whatsoever, he said Baroque. I did a poor job of mimicking his little voice. Like he guessed, he knew other things. Like what? I let go of a sigh. He knew more than I wanted to comfortably contemplate. Like how to get under my skin, I said at last. "I'm going to tell Coach he has to switch us back." "Go for it." I could use a hook for my next E-Zine article. 10th grader fights back. Better yet, seating chart takes slap in the face. I like it. At the end of the day, I was the one who took a slap in the face. Coach shot down my plea to rethink the seating chart. It appeared I was stuck with Patch. For now. And that concludes chapter 1. I'll just stick this in here for now. So, I hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment down below and subscribe because I will be making videos once or twice a week on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Fridays. And possibly Sundays with Goosebumps maybe in the background. Because I have a bunch of Goosebumps books that I know people will love because Goosebumps is an amazing series. Like, really. So, I really hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next Thursday for Romance Thursdays. Bye!